Sometimes you completely lose faith in the justice system, but sometimes, very rarely, you actually get some justice out of it. James Bulger killer John Venables denied parole. Now, a lot of you have probably already seen my You're Not Allowed to See This Man's Face video and already know the story of John Venables, but for those that don't know, he and a friend named Robert Thompson, back when they were just 10 years old, so John and Robert were both 10-year-old boys, they kidnapped 2-year-old Jamie Bulger and tortured and killed him. It was this massive thing in the UK. Everybody in the UK knows about this case. And then there was the boys were released from prison when they were 18 years old, given new identities. Robert Thompson, for the most part, seems to have completely faded into obscurity and, learned his lessons. Seems to be reformed, though maybe, don't know, I'm not sure about that. John Venables, however, sort of did the opposite. And even though millions and millions and millions of taxpayer money was spent on giving him, several new identities because he kept blowing his cover, he kept reoffending in sinister ways, which we can find out below, and he's currently back in prison. And he recently applied for parole, and he had it denied. Now 38 and living under a second new identity. It's not the second. It's not the second. I think this is his fifth. I think this is the fifth identity that he's on. It's definitely not the second new identity. It's the fifth. John Venables will not be eligible for another review for at least 2 more years. One of James Bulger's killers, John Venables, has had his application for parole rejected. Now 38, Venables and his friend Robert Thompson were 10 when they killed the 2-year-old in 1993, having taken him from a shopping centre in Bootle, Merseyside. It was the Strand shopping centre that they took him from. The pair were freed on licence in 2001 after 8 years in prison. They were both granted lifelong anonymity and have lived under new identities since. Again, for those that haven't watched the video, in Britain it's actually completely illegal for you to post any current pictures of John Venables or Robert Thompson or give any information as to their current whereabouts. Even describing what they look like now is a crime. Right, so this information I'm just making up. Right, so if I said to you, oh yeah, John Venables is now a great big fat guy, he's got a Gurren Lagann tattoo on his right arm, and he's got ginger hair, and he's got a great big braided beard, right? See me doing that, right? That's illegal. I'm literally not allowed to do that. I want it to be clear though that I completely made that information up. That's why I made it ridiculous, right? I completely made that up. Please don't arrest me for saying stuff again. Venables is currently in jail for possessing indecent images of children, and the parole board told Sky News his application for release had been denied. Now, it was a little bit more than that. It was a little bit more than that. He possessed images of children which were apparently in the most serious category of it. The most serious category of that type of thing. He also was in possession of and this is the second time. This is the second time I believe that he has been caught with such images. And on the second time, the one he's currently in prison for now, he wasn't caught with just images. He was caught with a child grooming manual. A manual that teaches you how to, like, why would you own? There's only one reason that you would own something like that, right? The man clearly is still a danger to society. We can confirm that a panel of the parole board did not direct the release of Mr. Venables following an assessment of his case, a spokesperson said. Under current legislation, Mr. Venables will be eligible for a further review within 2 years. The date of the next review will be set by the Ministry of Justice. James's father, Ralph Bulger, told the Mirror he could rest easy after learning of the decision. See, this is the reason for the anonymity order on John Venables. Ralph Bulger has said some things, right? Ralph Bulger is the dad of Jamie Bulger, the young boy that got killed. Like, basically, if Ralph Bulger ever finds out where John Venables is, Ralph Bulger will be getting tried for murder. Right? And I can't blame the man. I mean, it's probably going to be like one of the very, very, very few cases where if it came into the news, Ralph Bulger murdered John Venables, everyone in Britain would go, yeah. It's like, of course he did. Yep, of course he did. This is the first time ever that the right decision has been made regarding my son's killers. I agree. He said, I am so relieved because I was convinced he was getting out just as he has done before. Venables was recalled to prison for 2 years in 2010 after pleading guilty to downloading and distributing indecent images of children and breaking his parole conditions by returning to Merseyside. He was released with a second new identity before being recalled to prison again in 2017 over indecent images of children. He was sentenced to 3 years and 4 months in 2018. Mr. Bulger lost a bid last year to have information about his son's killer made public, with a judge saying that an anonymity order is necessary to stop Venables being put to death, which is true. Basically, if anybody's seen the video, you'll see the lynch mob, literal lynch mob that turned up at the courthouse that day. They were throwing stuff at the vans that were transporting John Venables and Robert Thompson. One guy was running up and punching the van. The cops had to grab him, drag him away. He was arrested. Like, this is the thing, is if you are ever anywhere in Merseyside and, like, the John Venables, Robert Thompson case gets brought up, don't just say, yes, they were scum, they were horrible, they were absolutely terrible, rotten boys, right? Just say that. Just say that, right? Don't turn around and do the whole, yeah, but they were just kids argument, because you'll get stomped on. Like, people will actually beat the living daylights out of you. Now, as far as prison goes, there's a lot of things that I feel, should not be illegal. There's a lot of people in prison right now who should not be in prison for stupid things, like drugs or, spicy tweets or something like that. But in this case, like, I support prison if the crime involves violating another person's rights. John Venables, by possessing these images and distributing them, grossly violated the rights of the children that were depicted in these images. So yes, absolutely, he deserves prison, right? Now, the argument's been made for Lolly and all that stuff, right? No actual child, no victim, no harm, fine, whatever. But these were real images. This was the real stuff, the hard stuff, the stuff that was in the most serious category. So, rot, son, right? Stay in jail. I don't care. It is. The parole board were right. I'm not like, even just take away the fact that it's John Venables, right? The parole board were 100% correct in making this decision, right? Because the man clearly is not rehabilitated. He's clearly not rehabilitated. He did that horrific thing when he was young, right? Now, make arguments, so he was just a boy. Right? Make all those arguments all you want. But the two instances where he got caught with these images, he was a grown man. He was a fully grown man, fully in charge of his faculties. He should know better. He should know that he shouldn't be doing these things, right? So, as far as, the younger one, when he was the James Bulger killing, like, make whatever arguments you want. But the two instances of being caught with CP, and on the second instance, he was in possession of a child grooming manual, the man clearly is still a danger to society. He clearly 100% is still a danger. I have no idea what they're going to do with him when, like, because they can't keep him in jail forever. They can't do that. Although it seems that I don't know if they're trying to Bronson him or something like that. But they can't keep him in jail forever. But the man clearly is still a threat to society. He clearly is still a danger. So I've no idea what they're going to do with him. Apparently there was talks of, like, sending him to Canada or sending him to New Zealand. But apparently when the British government said, can we, like, give him a new identity and send him to New Zealand, the New Zealand government were like, no. No, you cannot. We don't want him. Nobody wants him. And he deserves it. But yeah, at least children around Britain will be able to rest easy for another 2 years at least.